Now it is time to take longer strides. Time for a great new American enterprise. Time for this nation to take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may hold the key to our future on Earth. I therefore ask the Congress, above and beyond the increases I have earlier requested for space activities, to provide the funds which are needed to meet the following national goals. First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish. We propose to accelerate the development of the appropriate lunar spacecraft. We propose to develop alternate liquid and solid fuel boosters, much larger than any now being developed, until certain which is superior. We propose additional funds for other engine development and for unmanned exploration. Explorations which are particularly important for one purpose which this nation will never overlook: the survival of the man who first makes this daring flight. But in a very real sense, it will not be one man going to the moon. If we make this judgment affirmatively, it will be an entire nation, for all of us must work to put him there. Secondly, an additional $23 million, together with $7 million already available, will accelerate development of the rover nuclear rocket. This gives promise of someday providing a means for even more exciting and ambitious exploration of space, perhaps beyond the moon, perhaps to the very end of the solar system itself.
T-minus 3 hours, 22 minutes, 30 seconds and counting, and proceeding, still aiming toward our planned liftoff on the Apollo 8 mission at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at 3 hours, 21 minutes, 27 seconds and counting. The spacecraft test conductor now has given a go for crew departure. We expect that astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders will be coming out in a matter of a few minutes. This is launch control. This is launch control at 3 hours, 19 minutes, 46 seconds and counting. The spacecraft test conductor, Dick Prophet, has advised that the prime crew is now leaving the suite room, and we should expect them downstairs ready to board their transfer van in just a matter of a short time. They are standing by there in the control center for the crew departure at this time. All other aspects of the mission go. This is launch control. This is launch control. The prime crew coming out of the crew quarters. There's Frank Borman, a wave from Frank, also Jim Lovell, and the final man aboard the transfer van, astronaut Bill Anders. They're being joined by 2 suite technicians, and we expect the door in the transfer van to be closed shortly. Astronaut Pete Slayton, Director of Flight Crew Operations, also aboard the transfer van. He'll drop off here at the control center. The transfer van now departing from the manned space. The astronauts will follow when they arrive at the pad will be as follows. All 3 will board a high-speed elevator And the elevator, controlled by the capsule communicator, astronaut Vince Brand, here in the firing room, will carry the crew to the 320-foot level above the launcher base at Pad A. Actually, this is another 100 feet above the ground, so the level itself, what is referred to as the 320-foot level, is perhaps some 420 feet above sea level. The 320 feet referred to is 320 feet above the launcher base. Once that elevator arrives at the 320-foot level, astronauts Borman and Lovell, astronauts Borman and Anders will depart from the elevator and proceed along a catwalk to the White Room. Astronaut Jim Lovell will stand by in the elevator sitting in a chair. The reason here is that, of course, on the crew ingress, Lovell, who is the final man to come aboard, would have a wait of some 5 or 10 minutes in the White Room as his fellow pilots came aboard first, so they keep him in the elevator seated on a chair with a suit technician. The spacecraft commander, Frank Borman, will be the first to go aboard. He will be followed by the lunar module pilot, the man in the third seat, the seat on the right as we look at the spacecraft, astronaut Bill Anders. The final man aboard, the command module pilot, Jim Lovell. Astronaut Lovell will be called to the White Room once his two fellow pilots are aboard the spacecraft. The Apollo 8 crew now on the way to the pad. Our countdown is go at this time. All appears well with the Saturn V launch vehicle, the spacecraft checkout, weather conditions, tracking operations, and also the Mission Control Center in Houston reporting go as far as all their aspects of the flight are concerned. Still aiming for a planned liftoff time at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch controls. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at T-3 hours, 8 minutes, 5 seconds and counting. The flying crew of astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders, who have now been up for some 2 hours, are on their way to the launch pad at this time. They just had a report that the transfer van has just passed the launch control center here, which is located about 3,000 feet or so from the launch pad itself. The crew are proceeding to the launch pad and then will board a high-speed elevator to go to the 320-foot level above the launcher base, where the hatch and cabin for the Apollo 8 spacecraft is located. The crew was awakened as planned at 2:36 a.m. this morning. They took a physical examination and were declared physically fit by the 3 doctors examining them. They then sat down for breakfast, proceeded to the suit room where they donned their spacesuits, and now have been called by the spacecraft test conductor to the pad. They continue to monitor the status of propellants aboard the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle, and all our reports come back that all is well at this time as the countdown continues. Once again, the crew now proceeding to the launch pad, and we'll stand by for their arrival. They're now at T-3 hours, 6 minutes, 38 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, 3 hours, 4 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. As we look out the windows here in the firing room, we can see now that the transfer van is just passing the parked position to that 9.8 million pound mobile service structure that was moved back from the launch pad earlier on the count. The mobile service structure is some 1,700 feet from the launch pad, so we expect the astronauts to be arriving now at the pad in a matter of minutes. All still going well with the count. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control coming up on 3 hours. Mark, T-3 hours and counting, T-3, and we are proceeding. Astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders completing the their trip to the launch pad. We expect they'll be up on the pad apron shortly. The transfer van will park on the west side of the launch pad. That is the side closest to the press site. And we'll now see on our television here that the transfer van is in fact backing up to the elevator that will take the astronauts up. The astronauts first go up one elevator through a vestibule inside the launcher. This is inside the mobile launcher itself, where they then go to a high-speed elevator that takes them to the 320-foot level. The transfer van now backing up on the west side of the pad. We expect the flying crew will be coming out shortly. We logged the time of their departure from the crew quarters at 4:32, and now the astronauts are departing from the van. We log it now at 52 minutes past the hour. All three astronauts now getting aboard the first of two elevators that will take them to the 320-foot level on their Apollo 8 spacecraft. Now being joined by two suit technicians, gate in the elevator closing, and we expect it will be going up shortly. As reported, this first elevator takes the crew to the A level, which is a middle level in the mobile launcher. They walk through a short vestibule where they arrive at the two high-speed elevators that are used to carry them to the 320-foot level. The astronauts will be taking elevator number 1 to the 320-foot level. They've now come out of the first of the two elevators. They're now going into the vestibule, and we expect they'll be catching their second elevator shortly. The purpose of going inside the mobile launcher is, number 1, of course, this is where the high-speed elevators are located. Number 2, it's also the location for a chute that will take the astronauts to an underground blast room in the event of an emergency condition that caused them to leave their spacecraft. An emergency condition that would give time, however, to get them down the elevator and into an underground blast room. So the astronauts now proceeding to the high-speed elevator. We expect they'll be up at the 320-foot level and the Apollo 8 spacecraft in a matter of minutes from this time. The countdown still proceeding normally here in filing room 1, where the control of the count is being handled for this launch. We're still aiming toward our planned liftoff at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at 2 hours, 55 minutes, 38 seconds, and counting. Astronauts Frank Borman and Bill Anders now going across swing arm 9, the top swing arm at the launch pad, and of course the access arm that attaches to the Apollo spacecraft. They're accompanied by one of the two suit technicians. Astronaut Jim Lovell remaining in the elevator with one suit technician. Jim sits in a chair in the elevator while his two fellow pilots go aboard the spacecraft. Once Borman and Anders are aboard the spacecraft, Lovell is then called to the white room across the swing arm. The process of boarding the spacecraft commander Frank Borman will be the first to come aboard. Borman and Anders now have arrived in the white room, and will be going aboard the spacecraft shortly. The spacecraft commander goes aboard first in the left-hand seat, and then the lunar module pilot, Bill Anders, will be the second pilot aboard in the number 3 seat. Jim Lovell is then called to the white room, and he is the third and final member, of course, to come aboard the spacecraft. We're standing by for crew ingress at this time at 2 hours, 54 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, 2 hours, 51 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. Frank Borman, the spacecraft commander, now standing by to come aboard the spacecraft. We expect he'll be going in shortly. He's now standing in front of the hatch. Before he turned his back, he did give a wave to the closeout crewman up in the white room. We expect he'll be coming into the cabin shortly. Once the crewman tie into the spacecraft, they then tie in to the suit loop. This is they bring the oxygen into their spacesuit, actually pressurize the suit. We sample the oxygen in the suit to assure that it is acceptable. These are some of the early steps once the astronauts get aboard. Also, early checks once the astronauts are tied into the circuit and now become a part of the actual countdown. Some communication checks and verifications that we are getting good biomedical readouts, good biomedical parameters from the astronauts on board. So we are standing by at this time for crew ingress at 2 hours, 50 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, 2 hours, 49 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. The spacecraft commander, astronaut Frank Borman, is now aboard the Apollo 8 spacecraft. We had it logged over the sill at 4:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Frank is now checking in with spacecraft test conductor Jeff Prophet on some communication checks. Astronaut Bill Anders, the lunar module pilot, the man in the number 3 seat, now standing by to come aboard. And Bill Anders is now boarding the spacecraft. The time we have is 2 minutes past the hour, 5:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bill Anders now coming aboard. Jim Lovell standing by in the elevator at the 320-foot level. They expect he will be called to the flight room shortly. Lovell, the command module pilot, sits in the middle seat and is the last of the 3 pilots to come aboard. Bill Anders is now aboard and we're standing by for the arrival of the command module pilot, Jim Lovell. Countdown still proceeding satisfactorily here in the control room. Weather is go. All other elements of the mission also go at this time for a planned launch at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at 2 hours, 45 minutes, 12 seconds and counting. The final member of the crew, command module pilot Jim Lovell, now has been called to the flight room. He has left the elevator and arrived in the flight room at this time. We expect he will be going aboard shortly. The spacecraft commander Frank Borman and Bill Lovell already aboard the Apollo 8 spacecraft. And once Jim Lovell is aboard, we'll start some final preparations that will lead up to the closing of the spacecraft hatch about the 1 hour and 50-minute mark in the countdown. During the early phases, once the crew is aboard, one of the first things they do, of course, is tie into the environmental control system as far as their spacesuits are concerned. They actually plug in and bring oxygen into the suits. The suits are pressurized. They're standing by at this time, awaiting Jim Lovell to come aboard the spacecraft at 2 hours, 44 minutes, 11 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at 2 hours, 20 minutes and counting. Countdown still going very satisfactory at this time. Just a matter of several minutes ago during the process of the checkout between the spacecraft test conductor and the crew in the Apollo 8 spacecraft. The test conductor asked Commander Frank Borman how everything looked up there, and Frank reported back, it looks very good, very good. The 3 crewmen are still going through their preparations for the presentation of their pressure suits at this time as the countdown continues. We have a late report on weather and the forecast stand as announced earlier. The weather appears to be very satisfactory for a launch attempt this morning. Weather in the Kennedy Space Center area here at Launch Complex 39 calls for partly cloudy conditions, winds from the northwest at 7 knots. The expected temperature at launch time is about 60 degrees. The weatherman reports that the odds are against any fog in the area. There might be some patches of fog, but it's not expected to be a problem as far as the launch operations are concerned. We expect to have scattered clouds at 2,000 feet with a heavier cloud layer in the area of 10 to 12,000 feet. The visibility in the Complex 39 area will be 10 miles. All of these numbers appear to be within our mission rules and acceptable for a launch attempt. The weather in the worldwide track, both in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, as far as contingency areas are concerned, also acceptable for the mission today. Generally, in the Atlantic and Pacific, we have scattered clouds, moderate winds, and a moderate sea state. We are go at T-minus 2 hours, 18 minutes, 4 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at T-minus 26 minutes and counting. We are proceeding at this time. In progress at this time, we are pressurizing the propellants for the spacecraft engine systems that would be used in a space environment. Astronaut Jim Lovell, the man who sits in the middle of the seat and who is the command module pilot, is reporting that the spacecraft has conducted the profit on the status of the propellants. We pressurize these propellants with helium. The countdown has been going very well since it was picked up at 10:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night. Shortly before we resumed the count, the 9.8 million pound mobile service structure was moved to its park position some 7,000 feet from the pad. About an hour later, we began the propellant loading of the Saturn V launch vehicle. In some 4.5 hours, we loaded close to 1 million gallons total of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen aboard the 3 stages of the Saturn V. We now have the vehicle standing 363 feet, that is, and weighing 6.2 million pounds on the launch pad here at the Kennedy Space Center. We're continuing to top off the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen supplies because they must be maintained under extremely cold temperatures. They will continue to boil off, and we continue to replenish the supply down to the final minutes of the count. Astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders were awakened in their crew quarters this morning at 2:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They went down the hall from the crew quarters here at the Kennedy Space Center and took a physical examination, a brief launch day examination, and were declared physically fit by the 3 examining physicians, Dr. Zalman Harder, Dr. Jerry Jonah, and Dr. Jack Tegan. The astronauts then sat down to breakfast. They had a menu of filet mignon, scrambled eggs, toast, coffee, and tea. Guests at the breakfast included George Lowell, Apollo Program Director at the Manned Spacecraft Center, Donald K. Slayton is Director of Flight Crew Operations at the Manned Spacecraft Center, 2 of the backup pilots for the Apollo 8 mission, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Astronaut Jack Smith also attended the breakfast. Following the breakfast, the astronauts went to the suit room where they donned their spacesuits. The crew departed from the crew quarters at 4:32 a.m. this morning and began to board the spacecraft starting at 4:58 a.m. at the 220-foot level. First over the sill was the commander, astronaut Frank Borman. He was followed by the lunar module pilot, astronaut Bill Anders at 5:02 a.m. And finally, the man who sits in the middle seat, Jim Lovell, came aboard at 5:07 a.m. The hatch on the Apollo 8 spacecraft was closed at 5:34 a.m. Since that time, our countdown has been progressing very satisfactorily. We are still go for a launch attempt at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, T-minus 11 minutes and counting, T-minus 11, and our count is still go at this time. Coming up shortly, about 5 minutes from this time actually, we'll retract to its full fallback position, the spacecraft access arm, which is at the 320-foot level at the spacecraft. The astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders going through some final communications checks with the crew here in the control center. These are checks of the VHF communications, the very high-frequency communications that will be used after liftoff. We want to assure ourselves that they will be operating satisfactorily. Also control coming up. The astronaut crew will be busy on some final checks of the astrocom circuit. This is a special circuit in which the recommendations could be given to the astronauts if the indications were received as such. Here in the control center, some 3.5 miles from the launch pad. Also, Mission Control Center in Houston can send the same recommendations. We've now passed the 10-minute mark in our countdown. We're at 9 minutes, 51 seconds and counting. All aspects of the mission go at this time. Still aiming for a launch time at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a flight azimuth of 72 degrees. The flight azimuth has been verified in the instrument unit, the guidance system for the launch vehicle, and we've also had an update to assure that we have the correct flight azimuth in the spacecraft. This has been confirmed by the crew, and we are proceeding. T-minus 9 minutes, 21 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control, T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Still aiming toward our planned liftoff time. Spacecraft is test conducted to profit. It's just completed the status check of all elements concerning the spacecraft operations. All reported go, and there are 3 particularly strong and live goes from the 3 astronauts in the spacecraft 320 feet above the base of the launcher at Complex 39. Jim Lovell reported just a few minutes ago that he could see a blue sky and it looked like the sun's out. The spacecraft test conductor reported back that it's a very fine day. We're at T-minus 6 hours, 6 minutes, 50 seconds and counting, and we are proceeding at this time. This is launch control. This is Apollo Saturn launch control at 5 minutes, 30 seconds, and our count is still go at this time. We just completed further status checks here in the firing room at the control center. Here in the control center, we've had our status checks, and the range is given a go, as has the launch director, Rocco Petrone. We are still counting, and we are go coming up on the 5-minute mark in the count. Mark, T-minus 5 minutes and counting. T-minus 5. At this point, the Apollo access arm should be coming back, and it is now moving back at the 320-foot level to its fully retracted position high atop the tower at Pad A. Our countdown still proceeding at this time at the 4-minute mark in the countdown. The overall count will be turned over to the launch vehicle test conductor. Ray Roberts, the launch vehicle test conductor, will conduct the final 4 minutes as all different aspects move over to the launch vehicle test conductor's channel. The automatic sequence, as reported, will come in at the 3-minute and 6-second mark in the countdown. We're standing by at 4 minutes, 16 seconds and counting. This is launch control. This is launch control coming up on 3 minutes and 30 seconds and counting. Mark, T-minus 3 minutes and 30 seconds and counting. We have completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go. Coming up shortly will begin the automatic sequence where we have to complete the automatic checkout of the launch vehicle from 3 minutes and 6 seconds down. We have firing command. The firing command is in. We are now on the automatic sequence, T-minus 3 minutes and counting. During this period, once we do get the firing command, the various tanks within the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. They all must be under pressure before we're ready to launch. We have a sequence status board here in the control room that will give us readouts on the overall status of the space vehicle as we reach the terminal phases in the countdown. 2 minutes, 32 seconds, and counting. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument unit is ready. Spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system. That ready light also on. First stage preparations are completed. 2 minutes, 15 seconds, and counting. The tanks continuing to pressurize in the vehicle. Not as many reports coming now as we all stand by on the launch vehicle test conductor's channel. Coming up on the 2-minute mark on the Apollo 8 mission. 2 minutes and counting. T-minus 2 minutes and counting. We are still proceeding. We now have recorded that the first stage liquid oxygen tank has been pressurized and the pressure is still building up. 1 minute, 45 seconds and counting. We have a vehicle weighing 6.2 million pounds on the pad. Interesting enough, some 1,200 pounds of that weight is just flushed on the side of the vehicle, created by the extremely low temperatures of the propellants. Coming up in 90 seconds, mark, T-minus 90 seconds and counting. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders. We now have a report that the liquid hydrogen tank in the third stage is pressurized. 1 minute, 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on a 60-second mark on a flight to the moon. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. The vehicle now is completely pressurized. We're coming up on a power transfer shortly. T-minus 50 seconds and counting. We have the power transfer. We're now on the flight batteries within the launch vehicle. 45 seconds. Final reports coming from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard the spacecraft. 35 seconds and counting. We'll lead up to an ignition sequence start at 8.9 seconds. This will lead up as we build up the thrust to a liftoff. If all goes well at 0. We just passed the 25-second mark in the count. 20 seconds. All aspects we are still go at this time. T-minus 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engines are armed. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have commit. We have liftoff. Liftoff at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have cleared the top.
Tower clear in 13 seconds. 20 seconds out, we get a loud and clear from Frank Borman. 32 seconds. Booster says the S1C, the first stage, looks good. The crew confirms their progress at 50 seconds into the flight. 1 minute out, and Mike Collins tells the crew we're looking good. One minute, 15 seconds, and we're a little more than half a mile into the sky and about nearly 4 miles downrange. One minute for 40 seconds. All looks great. Mile and 6/10 into the mission, and Frank Borman has confirmed each event as it's been passed to him by Mike Collins at this point. The crew has been given a go for staging. Inboard out on time, Frank Borman says. The inboard engines. 2 minutes, 25 seconds. We see an S1C, the first stage cut off. S2 has ignited, we can confirm. And the thrust looks good. All engines, all sources show the second stage is burning perfectly. 2 minutes, 51 seconds into the mission. And the 3 minutes into the flight, the range safety console has been released at the Cape. 3 minutes into the flight, we're 50 miles high and about 10 miles downrange.
Bridge flight right on. We're going to verification of tower.
3 minutes, 25 seconds. We have verified that the tower has jettisoned. The crew has verified the tower is jettisoned. Frank Borman says staging was smooth, and he says the ride now is even smoother. Coming up on 4 minutes into the flight, and the communication thus far has been excellent. It's been a little sparse, but it's been quite sharp and clear. 70 miles altitude and about 20 miles or more downrange. Correction, let's make that 200 miles downrange.
Trajectory is go. Trajectory is still running. We're go, right? Let's go, right? Let's go.
Flight Director Cliff Charlesworth gets an enthusiastic go from both trajectory and booster at 4 minutes 50 seconds into the flight. Mark 5 minutes. And the crew's advisor trajectory and guidance are looking good, and Frank Borman came back with a very chatty thank you, Michael. He's talking to Michael Collins, who would be in the center seat today except for an operation several months ago. 5 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
How you doing, huh? Really good flight. That's a good flight.
300 miles downrange. We're nearing 100 miles altitude. And everything looks just grand. And Collins gives the crew another go on trajectory and guidance, which at this point are the most critical elements. It's 6 minutes, 10 seconds into the flight. Our downrange distance now 400 miles. Our velocity in feet per second, nearly 15,000 feet per second. We've achieved nearly 60% of the velocity required to make orbit. 57% right now. And we're 96.5 miles above the Earth.
We're doing fine. Everything looks good.
Surgeon reports he likes everything he sees. 7 minutes into the flight. And we're nearing the second stage, nearing the point where we will drop off the second stage and light the third stage. And that event is to come at about 8 minutes and 40 odd seconds into the flight. We have now achieved 70% of the velocity required to attain orbit. Our present velocity is 18,600 feet per second, and we are 100 miles above the Earth, 100 even. 625 miles downrange. Coming up on 8 minutes, Mark, 8 minutes. 20,400 feet per second, 101.7 miles above the Earth, 734 miles downrange.
I'd like to personally Booster flight out, you can stay close up, damping up. Okay. Understand, follow damping up. And we look good for staging, Captain. Apollo 8 Houston, you look good for staging.
And the crew is advised they look good on the ground for staging. And Borman says same here. We got S2 cutoff, we got S4B ignition. Borman confirmed S4B ignition.
Okay, Roger on the thrust.
The thrust looks good to us at 9 minutes into the flight.
How you read, Sam? Looking good, flight. Jim Street. Good. How you doing? How do you read Apollo 8? Apollo 8, reading your last
We now have 89% of the velocity required. We're 920 miles downrange. And we're 9 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
Roger. How you doing, Fido? We're good, son. Altitude is nominal at this time. Roger.
Flight dynamics officer says our altitude is nominal, which is the
predicted cutoff.
typically conservative word for very nearly the perfect mission as nearly as we can observe at this point. 9 minutes, 50 seconds, and we've just gone to what we call mode 4. If any trouble should develop now, we would go ahead and burn into orbit with our service propulsion engine. The crew is now being advised we plan to cut off the third stage engine at 11 minutes, 28 seconds into the flight. We're now at 10 minutes, 10 seconds. We're at 103.7 nautical miles above the Earth. Our velocity is at an even 24,000 feet per second, which is just very, very close to orbital velocity. That's 95% of it. And we're 1,200 miles downrange. That put us out a little bit east of Bermuda.
Go ahead, Apollo.
10 minutes and 50 seconds, and we heard from Bill Anders for the first time. He simply said, how do you read, Houston?
You're looking good, Apollo.
And he gets a looking good back from looking good comment from Mike Collins.
How you doing, Fido? We're good, flight. Looking good. Yeah, it's yours. Roger.
Yeah, Robert.
11 minutes, 20 seconds. And we're hearing a little something from Jim Lovell reporting a reading of one of his many gauges.
And we have Seco.
We have Seco, says Frank Borman. Seco, and I would call it 11 minutes, 30 seconds. That will be an estimate. 11 minutes, 30 seconds. Our launch digital data shows our velocity now 25,577 feet per second. The data now has been reduced, and we show an altitude of 102.5.
Roger.
And the crew has been given a go for all, but they responded enthusiastically that they too, in fact, would go.
I'm going to disable the voice.
We're recording altitude HA 106, HP 96.8. RBI 2.560.
We got the HA 25. What do you read? I didn't copy. Roger, Apollo 8, understand altitude 102.6, energy 96.8, and velocity, I understand 25560. Could you confirm?
Jim Lovell now has just read us down what he saw on his instrumentation. He shows an apogee of 102.6, a perigee of 96.8, and a cutoff velocity of 25,560 feet per second. That's within hundredths of a percentage point of what we were reading on our scales here in Houston. And now the crew has been advised we have settled on an orbit of 103 apogee by 99 miles perigee. We were shooting for something very close to 100 nautical miles circular. We have now the tape of the entire launch sequence, and we'll play it for you at this time.
The clock is running.
Roger, clock.
Roll pitch program.
Roger.
How do you hear, Houston?
Loud and clear. Mark, Mode 1 Bravo, Apollo 8.
1B.
Apollo 8, you're looking good.
Roger.
Mark, Mode 1 Charlie, Apollo 8.
On 1C.
Apollo 8 Houston, you are go for staging, over. Roger, understand, sir. This is Apollo Control Houston here, 21 minutes 40 seconds into the flight, and we're out over the Canaries. A crew, which sounds like strictly business. Its main spokesman during this pass, in the last minute or two, has been Jim Lovell. And we now begin that very anxious business of making sure that all the systems are settled down and calibrating them. And from all appearances, they certainly are. The first one, a major concern, of course, is the platform alignment. Right now, we think we see something on the order of a 0.2 hundredths or 2/10 of a degree out of alignment, which is nothing at all. That's alignment. The communication has been nothing short of outstanding. I don't recall a time when the communication from a simulator was as sharp and as clear as it is today from this spacecraft. Here's how the conversation is going as we proceed across the Canary Islands. Apollo 8 Houston, through the Canaries. How do you read?
You're loud and clear, Houston, over the Canaries.
Good, you're loud and clear too. How's it going?
Fine. We seem to be going right along very well. We noticed about a 10-pound delta P between the oxygen fuel and the SPS flow.
Apollo 8 Houston, that is normal. That's just about what we expected. Over.
Roger. Stand by for the main rig. Okay, main rig, B valve closed.
Apollo 8 Houston, say again.
Negative, we didn't see anything. Go ahead, Houston.
I think you were transmitting. Jim was transmitting and disregard.
Roger, I'm sorry.
Apollo 8 Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
Roger, you have 1 minute to LOS Canaries. Everything is looking good on board both the spacecraft and the S4B. We'll see you over Tenerife at 37 minutes, over.
Roger, thank you, Houston, Apollo 8.
At 2 hours and 57 minutes here, just all the sources again are being looked at, compared. They all are exactly what we'd hoped to see. And more than once we've heard Chris Cramp, the Director of Flight Operations, say, "You're on your way. You're really on your way now." We don't have an exact cutoff figure yet in feet per second, but we should be getting it very soon from the Flight Dynamics Officer.
Everything's looking real good down here. California inhibit VHF downlink.
Inhibited.
Apollo 8 Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
Now your cutoff looks very good down here. We got a whole room full of people that say you look good.
Roger, thank you. The only situation we have here is the O2 is pegged high. O2 flow pegged high.
I understand O2 flow high.
We'll get to the first status report here shortly.
Roger. Apollo 8 Houston, your booster is configured normally, and we're not concerned about the O2 high flow. We think it's normal.
Okay. Houston, Apollo 8.
Go ahead, Apollo 8.
Roger, the Delta TIG looked like it was right on. Burn time compared to what about 2 seconds longer, 517. VGX was reading 95485 when we got it. The attitude was nominal. VI was reading 35452 at cutoff. H dot 04552 and H is 01791. Delta BC on the EMS minus 20.6.
All right, we copy that, Jim, and I've got some times here for you.
Roger, go ahead.
The booster begins maneuver to step attitude at 3:10 3:55. Takes 5 minutes, so it arrives at 3:15:55. And step time 3:20:55. Your step attitude, the gimbal angle.
This is Apollo Control. We're getting a post-TLI report from the crew. I apologize. I quoted some erroneous figures during the course of the burn. Our present altitude is about 240 miles, and very shortly we will get a more precise fix on that. I believe in the course of the burn I quoted some figures in thousands of miles, which should have been in thousands of feet. I apologize. Our new displays are getting a good workout, and some of the people reading those new displays are getting a very good workout.
Houston, Apollo 8, over. Apollo 8, Houston, go ahead.
Roger, going to start charging battery B.
This is Apollo Control here. We're watching the altitude plot now. Now it's a good solid trace coming to us through Goldstone. We're up to 879 miles. Our present ground elapsed time into the flight is 3 hours, 3 minutes. At the same time, we're already beginning to see the velocity begin to recede slightly. It's down to 32,418 feet per second. And we'll continue to see that slight lowering in the velocity reading and a constant elevation of the apogee. Now 934, 961, and every 10 seconds it seems to be adding about 30 to 40 miles. The spacecraft right now, in relation to the Earth, is just south of the Goldstone station, which has it in solid lock.
This is launch control. Under our present planning, we're aiming toward the post-launch press conference at press site 39 at about 11:30 a.m. this morning. The participants in this conference will be as follows. Lieutenant General Samuel C. Phillips, the Apollo Program Director from NASA headquarters. Dr. Kurt H. Debus, Director, Kennedy Space Center. Dr. Werner von Braun, Director, Marshall Space Flight Center. Dr. John Clark, Director, Goddard Space Flight Center. Dr. Robert R. Gilruth is back in Houston. We'll see if arrangements can be made to include Dr. Gilruth in on the conference. 11:30 for the post-launch press conference. This is launch control.
This is Apollo Control, Houston. We estimate another 7 to 8 minutes before the spacecraft will separate from the S-4B. We have not heard from the crew in the last few minutes. They're busy with doing their post-TLI duties, and we're looking at data here, and everything we see is quite comforting. That's the next major event, separation from the booster. For now, the pool has asked us to replay the communication during translunar injection, which you heard live. Here it is.
Houston, you're looking good. Roger. Coming up on 20 seconds to ignition. Mark it, and you're looking very good. Roger. Ignition. Roger, ignition. Go, Fred. You look okay? We look go. Okay. Look good, Capcom. Flight booster, all systems go. Roger. Flight Fido, FG 800 miles, we're go. Roger. And climbing. Looking good, flight. GSB, looks good, flight. Booster. Hawaii confirms that they've got a very solid lock. And Borman almost nonchalantly says Roger. Apollo 8 Houston, we're predicting cutoff 2:55:58, and it looks exactly nominal here. Roger. Apollo 8 Houston, that predicted cutoff 2:55:52, and that's exactly as it should be. 2:55:52. This is Apollo Control. Houston, 3 hours, 22 minutes into the flight. Exactly 1 minute ago, we observed separation from the S-4B. The crew immediately turned around and had a look at the S-4B, and we're watching that pitch attitude right now, and telemetry coming to us over the eastern test range. And as the vehicle climbs, it will, from a flat map projection, appear to swing to the south and west, which, of course, is a little unusual for our past flights. The Earth orbital tracks, which invariably take us to the east, but we will observe a swing down, starting across the Atlantic and then back across the upper part of South America.
now trying to establish a call with Apollo 8. Let's see what we can get.
Apollo 8, this is Houston, over.
This is Apollo 8 on VHF and S-band. How do you read?
You're loud and clear, Bill. How me?
Read you loud and clear. We've stepped. Looking good.
Roger, looking good here.
This is Apollo Control here. No additional communications from the crew, but while we've been sitting here in the last few minutes, the Mission Control Center has gone to what we call the translunar phase map. It's a new display, and those of you watching in the news center will observe a long, elongated figure 8 map, which shows the Earth-Moon transit. And it also shows the numbers, the small flashing lights now being portrayed to us in black and white. And we would estimate our distance at something on the order of 3,000, 3,500 miles from Earth. It will carry us out in increments of 20,000 miles out to lunar distance. And we'll be able to observe the declination or the general angle in relation to the Earth-Moon system, the entire flight path of the spacecraft. Again, we confirmed S4B spacecraft separation at about 3 hours, 21 minutes into the flight. And at this time, 3 hours, 27 minutes into the flight, all looks satisfactory. This is Apollo Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control, Houston. Now the crew seems to be pretty well settled down on their translunar, after the translunar injection burn, and they're getting some time on the window. We just heard Jim Lovell report he could see Florida perfectly. By the way, they're at about 6,500 miles above the Earth now. He said he had a beautiful view of Florida, and then his gaze roamed a little bit to the other side of the window, and he said he could also see Gibraltar. The crew reminded the control center here that Pete Conrad and Dick Gordon would have to step aside. Their altitude record has been exceeded. Let's pick up this conversation now as it unfolds.
Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
Roger, Bill ready for his VHF test. We can configure anytime he is.
Okay, stand by.
Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
We'd like to ask whether you did a Verb 66 enter to transfer the state vector from CSM to LEM slot. We didn't copy that down here.
We did not.
Okay.
You want us to do that now?
At your convenience.
Roger. We see the Earth now almost as a disk.
Good show. Get a picture of it.
We are. Still Conrad, he lost his record.
We have a beautiful view of Florida now. We can see the Cape, just the point.
Roger.
And at the same time, we can see Africa. West Africa is beautiful. I can also see Gibraltar at the same time I'm looking at Florida.
Sounds good. Get a picture of it. What window are you looking at?
The center window.
Good. Are your windows clear so far? Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
How about this VHF check? We'd like to get that done before you get too much further away.
Okay. Roger, we're listening on VHF Alpha Simplex.
Apollo 8, Houston, say again.
We're listening on VHF Alpha Simplex.
Okay, good. Thank you. VHF Alpha Simplex, and we'll get configured for it. And in between times, give us clues to what it looks like from way up there.
Roger. Well, Mike, I can see the entire Earth now out of the center window. I can see Florida, Cuba, Central America, the whole northern half of Central America, in fact, all the way down through Argentina and down through Chile.
You picked a good day for it.
Stand by, we're going through the separation maneuver checklist here.
Roger, standing by.
Houston, this is Apollo 8. We've lost sight of the S-4B here. This separation maneuver may be delayed slightly, or else we'll go ahead and make it without having it in sight.
Roger, I understand, Frank.
Houston, Apollo 8.
Apollo 8, Houston, go ahead.
When does the S-4B do their blow-down maneuver?
Stand by one. Apollo 8, Houston.
Come on.
Your blowdown will be in 1 hour from now, a little over 1 hour from now.
Roger, we have the S-4B inside again now. We've done the separation maneuver.
Good show, thank you.
Now we've done the separation maneuver.
Good show, thank you. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
We'd like to take control of the DSC for a while, Bill.
Go ahead.
Thank you. 8 Houston, we'd like an approximate GET of your SEP maneuver to use for our ephemera tracking data.
Roger, was 3 hours, 40 minutes, 0 seconds.
Right, 340 and a foot and a half feet per second, Roger.
Roger about that.
Okay,
We
thank you.
have Mike, we have the exact call out here for you in a burn status report.
All right.
All right, Delta VX minus 00011. Delta VY plus 0002. Delta VZ minus 0002. Roll 0, pitch 180, yaw 0. Over.
Roger, Apollo 8. Apollo 8, Houston.
Houston, Apollo 8.
Roger, at your convenience, would you please go poo and accept? We're going to update your W matrix, and also, when you get a chance, we'd like to know about the slaw panels. Did they all depart, and do you have any comments about the slaw?
They all departed, and it worked fine.
Okay, thank you.
We're in poo and accept.
Thank you.
Houston, Apollo 8, will you give us the information when you want us to stop the venting and so on?
Apollo 8, Houston, Roger. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Which venting information are you inquiring about? The O2 flow high out through the waste tank or waste compartment, or are you talking about your evaporator?
The evaporator. We're configuring.
Okay. We concur in it. Apollo 8, Houston, you can go back to a block. We've gotten in the loads of the W matrix update.
Right. Houston, Apollo 8, the back pressure valve is closed, no water flow is off.
Back pressure valve closed and water flow off. Thank you.
is Apollo Control. Houston, at 4 hours, 21 minutes into the flight. And in the last, half an hour, we've had a very interesting interchange with the crew. They've given us a good description of what's been going on. But more than that, we've been occupied with trying to understand what a proper maneuver would be to give us added separation from the S-4B. Borman reported some 15, 20 minutes ago that he thought the S-4B was staying a little bit too close for comfort. He estimated its distance from the spacecraft 500 to 1,000 feet, and he said he was viewing quite a lot of venting, not propulsive venting, but just great clouds of venting coming from the S-4B. He later reported it stopped. In the course of the last 20 to 25 minutes, we have been playing music on the VHF, by VHF out of California, and the crew reports Herb Alpert sounds great. And it's being beamed to him just a little bit north of his native Tijuana. So that system, we're trying to find out just how far out in space the VHF will carry. Certainly the quote that stopped us all, more so than anything else, came from Borman. I'm sure it was by accident. But at one point, he, in trying to configure for a slight burn to give him added separation from the S-4B, Borman says, as soon as we find the Earth, we'll do it. And that brought a loud clap of laughter here. Here's quite a lot of tape going back over the last 17 or 18 minutes.
Stand by one, Frank. That's affirmative, Frank, on the P-47.
Okay, and give me the time again when it starts to vent, please.
Roger. We're working on an exact DET event, Frank.
Right.
Houston.
Go ahead.
All right, I might give you some idea about your trajectory. It looks like a mid-course correction number 1 projected out to TLI plus 6 hours would be only 7 feet per second. So, of course, any maneuvers you do add to that, which is probably good.
I just want to stay from in front of this thing.
Right. Right, we concur. Looks like it's safety, huh?
Yeah. Omni-D. Boy, it's starting to vent now, blowing down.
All the way, Houston, say again?
The S-4B is really venting.
Right, I understand. That is a supposedly a non-propulsive vent. The big blowdown maneuver, it starts maneuvering to blowdown attitude at 4:44:55, and the vent occurs at 5:07:55.
5:07:55.
Roger.
That is a non-propulsive vent, but it's pretty spectacular. It's spewing out from all sides like a huge water sprinkler.
Right, got some pictures there.
big vent time so I can write it down, please, Houston.
All right, big vent time, 5:07:55. And it will be maneuvering to vent attitude beginning at 4:44:55. And Bill's got the tape recorder back.
Thank you. Roger. We're receiving VHF music now, Houston. Thank you.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Frank. And we'd also like to know how far away from the S4B you are now.
I guess we're between 500 to 1,000 feet.
Roger.
Herb Alpert seems pretty good.
Roger.
Houston, Apollo 8.
Apollo 8, Houston.
Roger, I believe we're going to have to vent or thrust away from this thing. Seem to be getting closer.
Right, I understand, Frank. Go ahead whenever. Just give us some idea of when you did it and how much.
Roger.
Apollo 8, Houston. Could you stand by one? We're working on something here.
Okay.
Apollo 8, Houston. Apollo 8, this is Houston, over. Apollo 8, this is Houston, over.
You're loud and clear, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, Frank, on your additional separation maneuver, we recommend that you make a radial burn, point your plus X axis toward the Earth, and thrust minus X for 3 feet per second, over.
I don't want to do that.
Okay, the reason we want a radial burn is to increase your mid-course correction so we can use the FPS. Stand by one. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead.
How close to a radial burn can you get without losing sight of the S4B, Frank?
Oh, I don't know because I can't.
Okay.
We can pitch down some. Jim has the Earth and the optics, so we could pitch some and get pretty close to one, I guess.
Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
We can give you a pitch gimbal angle on the radial direction if that would be a help. It's 181 degrees pitch gimbal angle would be exactly radial at 4 hours and 10 minutes. I don't know whether that solves your visibility problem or not.
181.
That's affirmative. Pitch then.
And 0 would be just as good, wouldn't it?
Frank, if you use 0, then make the SEP if possible with the plus X thrusters. That's the direction of the burn we'd like.
Well, I can't do that. I'll thrust right square into that S4B.
Yeah, okay, understand.
What will he maneuver to as far as the gimbal angle for his blowdown?
Oh, hey, Houston, that blowdown at S4B should be oriented to perform a retrograde blowdown along the local horizontal. Is it still chasing? Does it look like it's closing on you, Frank?
It's about the same. The trouble is it's pointed at us pretty well.
Right, I understand. Frank, what we want to do is get a radial upward burn. And as long as you can, through the optics or some other means out the window, figure out where the Earth is, then use the appropriate thrusters to thrust upward, radially upward, to 3 feet per second. That's what we're looking for trajectory reasons.
Okay, I understand. As I say, I just can't very well do that now, and I don't want to lose sight of this S4B.
Right, we concur with that. I just thought perhaps Jim through his optics, or you can get some feel for where the Earth is. That's what we want to do, is radially upward.
Okay, as soon as we find the Earth, we'll do it.
Thank you, sir. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
Right, Frank. Do you think you're going to be able to do this burn radially? We'd like to add to its magnitude if you're going to make it in some other direction, or?
I'm not even sure we're going to do it yet, Mike. If I can get her, if we seem to be drifting away from this thing a little bit, although it's still pointing at us a lot closer than I like.
Roger, understand. Apollo 8, Houston, we'd like you to do some additional maneuver. It's just a question of how much in which direction.
Okay, well, our gimbal angles are about, pulse about 190, and pitch is about 320, and yaw is about, speed 40. We could certainly do it in this position. That'd be all right.
Stand by, we'll check those. Apollo 8, Houston. Right, Frank, you could help us out if you'd explain where you are relative to the booster. In other words, with respect to the Earth and the radius vector, are you above or below or to one side, or where exactly is the booster relative to you?
Well, the trouble is, as I said before, we can't definitely find the Earth. I think that we're in front and a little bit above the, or almost in front of, directly in front of the booster.
Right, I understand, almost directly in front of the booster.
Perhaps a little bit horizontally displaced toward the, let's see. Houston, to help you, we're looking right directly above the S4B, with the sun is on it's on the right side of the S4B and coming in our left number 1 window.
Okay, I understand the sun is on the right side of the S4B and coming in your number 1 window. And are you, when you give us those angles, that means that your plus X axis is pointed at it with those angles, is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
The Earth is in our plus Y plus Z direction now, Mike.
Thank you. Earth is plus Y plus Z.
And a little minus X.
Okay.
Houston, for information, I'm looking through the scanning telescope now, and I see millions of stars, most of them vending from the S4B.
All right. Do you have any trouble telling which of the stars and which are S4B particles?
We're in sunlight. They look like they're all S4B, but we don't know. I'm going to attempt the P-52 real live at this time and see what I can do.
I understand you.
Mike, anything more on this separation maneuver you want?
No, we're working on it, Frank. We're trying to compute what radially outward will be in close terms. Now, you still have the Earth, as I understand, plus Y and plus Z quadrant. In other words, it's down below you on your right and slightly to your rear. Is that still true?
That's right. Quite a bit to our rear and down below us. Off the right.
Okay, well, we, of course, in that attitude, would want to burn some upward and some to the left, but we're trying to be more precise than that. Frank, is it still about the same distance away? Are you opening or closing?
It sure is staying close.
I understand.
Mike, can you just tell us which way the S4B pitches and how far it'll pitch to the slingshot maneuver attitude?
Roger, stand by. Frank, your S4B is within 10 degrees of its final attitude at this time.
Houston, you ready to copy the IMU line information?
Go ahead.
star ID 03 and star 36. Star angle difference points 01. Torquing angles X minus 00034. Y minus 0027. Z plus 00100. Over.
Okay, thank you. For Y, I just got 4 digits, 0027.
300027.
Thank you.
And Houston, we're going to have to hold up in the cislunar navigation until after this next little maneuver.
Roger, Jim, we understand it. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Mike.
Could you give us an updated readout of your gimbal angles when your plus X axis is pointed towards the booster, please?
All right, stand by.
Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Could you give us those gimbal angles, Frank, when you get a chance?
I'm getting the coax right on it now, so we'll be accurate.
Thank you.
Okay, with the coax right on the S4B, the roll reads 105. The pitch is 275, and the yaw is about 325.
Roger, copy roll 105, pitch 275, and yaw 325.
Roger. That should be 115 for the roll.
Thank you, 115 roll.
Houston, Apollo 8, over.
Apollo 8, Houston, go ahead.
Roger, if it'll help you any, Mike, the Earth is plus Y about 45 degrees in the minus X. I can see it out my side window. And it's a beautiful view with numerous cloud vortex.
Roger, Bill, thank you. I understand plus X 45 degrees between, in other words, halfway between plus Y and plus Z and slightly minus X.
Negative, it's 45 degrees in the plus Y, in the XY plane towards minus X, over.
Roger, understand the XY plane toward X, 45 degrees.
45 degrees from Y to minus X.
Roger, thank you.
It's behind us in the right, if that'll help.
Roger.
I can still see the Cape and Isthmus of Central America.
Roger, understand. And Frank, what we want on this burn is 8 feet per second now, 8 feet per second. We want it radially upward, and we want you to use whatever thrusters are required to burn radially upward at 8 feet per second.
Why do you want to use do so much, Mike?
Because of the separation distance we would like to achieve between now and the time of S4B blowdown.
Okay. Mike, you want me to go ahead and try to do this, or are you going to give me some gimbal angles?
Apollo 8, Houston, if you go ahead and do it without gimbal angles, if you can do that. Over.
Okay. I don't understand why you want so many feet per second out of it. I think I can, with just a little maneuvering, I could get away from it a lot simpler than that.
Well, we'd like the radial upward for trajectory reasons, and the magnitude we'd like because of the separation distance, which we're predicting you'll have at S4B blowdown.
Okay. VHF sounds good.
Roger, on the VHF.
Omni B.
Understand, Omni B. Baker. Apollo 8, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 8.
Roger, about 12 minutes before your big blowdown, there's a small continuous vent which opens at a GET of 455.55. You may notice that on the booster. It's a 12, 15-pound thrust.
Okay.
And Apollo 8, could you give us your burn information whenever you have it?
We're maneuvering to the NIM.
Okay.
Okay, Houston, I understand you want 8 feet per second burn, is that right?
Like 8 feet per second, radially upward.
Now, we're as close to being radially upward as we can determine.
Roger. Apollo 8, Houston, are you going to use P-47 to monitor the burn?
Yeah, Roger, we're putting it in now.
Thank you.
Maneuvering now.
Thank you.
Houston, we made the burn 7.7 plus X plus 0.0001Y, and Z's are all 0. The gimbal angles roll 180, pitch 310, and yaw 020.
Roger, I copy plus X 7.7, Y 0.1, and roll, pitch, and yaw 180, 310, and 20.
Did you get that information, Houston?
Apollo 8, Houston, how are you reading?
Read you loud and clear. Did you get the information?
That's affirmative. I say again, we copied plus X 7.7, 1/10 and Y, no Z, roll, pitch, and yaw 180, 310, 020.
Roger. The burn was made initiated at 4:45.
Roger, copy 4:45, take.
Okay, you want us to transfer that to the lamp phase vector, or just leave it alone?